And we're back in the room, back in Marbella. Was here just 3 weeks ago now with the guys from Inside Capital Closer, where I ended up taking the guys who finished top 4 of the leaderboard that we have Inside Capital Closer away here to Marbella for 5 days, which ended up being a very, very successful trip in the end. A lot of sales calls taken, a lot of sales calls closed, a lot of piffs, but more importantly, a lot of personal records broken. I think every single one of the guys that came away, and it was Lewis, it was Jerry, it was Malef, and it was Yain, all actually broke their personal records in terms of most commissions made in a single month. I think off the back of that trip, Lewis, who finished top of the leaderboard that we have Inside Capital Closer, finished at 20,000 in commissions made, bearing in mind he only got into this space about 5 months ago. Yain finished on 10,800 in commissions made. Again, he had 0 sales experience, came on board about 4 months ago now. He had 0 sales experience before coming on board. Jerry finished on 15,000 in commissions made. He's consistently hit 15,000 in commissions for the last 4 months in a row now. And Malef finished on 8,000 in commission made, which broke his record because he only left his real estate job a couple of months ago as well, before working with myself, which was absolutely great. Now, this trip's a little bit different. Come away with my girlfriend for a week, change of scenery out in Marbella. So just we are going to Gaia tonight for dinner. But yeah, pretty much just gonna be working the entire week. Dinners, gym, runs, the usual, change of scenery. You know what, when I'm moving to Dubai obviously in September, but obviously you've got to be there for 6 months if you want to take advantage of tax residency and become an Emirati, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm obviously not going to spend summers in Dubai because it's way too hot, nor do I want to stay in England for too long either. So I think Marbella is probably looking like it's going to be the spot for a good couple of months. But anyway, the agenda for today: woke up this morning, had a few calls to review for the guys Inside Capital Closer. I review everyone's mock calls. Basically, we do mock calls for all the guys inside, and rather than palming them off to a coach, I basically review the calls to myself still this day, which I will outsource at some point, but I just love having that personal touch. And if people are investing in Capital Closer, I want them to directly deal with me. None of this like, here's a coach, here's someone who hasn't been there and done it, like a lot of people do in the space. You're investing in me, you get me, okay? Does that mean I'm very busy? Yes, it does, but I'd rather people have me than some shit subpar, which is what most people do in the space. Just warning you guys. So yeah, had a few mock calls to review for the guys Inside Capital Closer. Ended up passing 2 of them, so I passed their mock call assessments, which means they're ready to land an offer now, which is absolutely great. Had a sales call for Capital Closer, ending up onboarding the person on the call, which is great. Again, I take the sales calls for Capital Closer. Could I outsource them? Yes. Should I? Probably yes. But will I? Probably not for a long time. And I think this is another issue in the space with a lot of people, is they outsource stuff so quickly. Closing, setting, you know, outsourcing fulfillment. And yes, you do need to do that, of course. If you want to get to big numbers, of course you need to do that. But I think people do it too quickly, right? I think people are so quick to do it. And it's like, maybe the issue with me is I'm just too obsessed with high ticket sales. I'm too obsessed with closing. I'm too obsessed with sales that someone's going to literally have to drag me off taking sales calls for Capital Closer, which is probably also a curse, as it is probably also a blessing. But it's just one of those things that I fucking love taking sales calls. And I was out here and I took a sales call and obviously closed the guy who's come on board, who's going to absolutely fucking smash it, by the way. He's got 0 sales experience, but he's got a strong sporting background, so I've got a good feeling about him, and I know he's going to absolutely smash it. Now, and bearing in mind, that's also why I take calls, because a lot of what I do is one-to-one coaching, and I don't want to work with everyone, with all due respect. Our community is very different to a lot of people's, right? None of this fairy, pussyfooting around bullshit. We have a leaderboard Inside Capital Closer. None of this fucking like, oh, well done for taking part, you know, well done for like, you know, none of that bullshit. If you want to be all like, you know, fucking woke and all that stuff, join another community. Like, join another community. Do not join Capital Closer. Because I see a lot of these other guys that are like, oh, well done. Like, no, this is a dogfight, Capital Closer. Dogfight. Like, guys are fighting inside. The leaderboard is such a big thing inside Capital Closer, and I've made it to be such a big thing because I want it to be a hierarchy inside Capital Closer, where we've actually ranked it, not only the top, basically, once you're in Capital Closer, once you land an offer, we basically rank you, and you have to update a leaderboard, and it shows like if you're top, if you're bottom, and everyone can see it, and I track it religiously. And the beautiful thing about it is we've basically done it in football divisions. So we have Premier League, I think it's the top 6 people, then Championship, League 1, League 2, and then we've got Sunday League, and we've got some other leagues as well, which I probably won't say on here. But again, what it just shows is, like, if you're not pulling your weight, it's embarrassing, and people are going to see. There's no hiding. I'm very, very competitive myself, and I want everyone that I work with to be extremely competitive. You know, I'd be competitive over the strangest things, honestly. You wouldn't imagine some of the things that I'll be competitive about, but that's the environment that I want to make inside of Capital Closer, and that we have. You know, Lewis Miller, again, a prime example of this. Lewis Miller's going to finish top of the leaderboard again, back to back this month. Lewis Miller's probably going to clear $30,000 in commissions this month. $30,000 in commissions made. I'm going on a bit here, but the reason why I'm telling you this, I just want to show you the standards in which how we operate inside Capital Closer, and it's very, very, very like winning or nothing, right? Win at all costs. Win at all costs. If you want to dance around and take your time and give high ticket closing a go, get into another person's community. If you want to be the best in the entire space, dominate and embarrass the entire industry and be the top closer, top 0.1% closer in the entire industry, join Capital Closer. Why? Because I've been there and done it. No one else has been there and done it with receipts. Under 25, not that I know of in the UK, with receipts, who is selling high ticket closing mentorship. I don't know anyone. You please tell me, all right? So that's that. But anyway, took a sales call earlier, it was great. Onboarded them, then went to the gym, the sort of gym, I think it's called Beach Club Fitness, on the sort of shore of Marbella. And yeah, that was good. Got a gym session in. Need to go to Gaia now, but I will take you along here with me in a week in the life. Going to be a bit of a chill one. It's quite a lot of stuff on this weekend, but we're just going to keep focused. We've got a big month coming in for Capital Closer next month, and also we signed another client for the sales agency. Signed a big client recently for my sales agency, Sales Leaders, and it's a bit of a different offer. It's not the typical offer I'd normally work with, it's more B2B, but I'm looking forward to scaling the absolute hell out of it, so I'll keep you guys updated. Right, okay, what's happening, people? Haven't filmed much at all whilst being out here in Marbella. I think it's currently day 5. Literally hardly filmed anything. But anyway, earlier this morning, I had a call with someone who's looking for me to run their sales team. Quite an interesting call, to be fair, because the offer that he's actually running is very similar to one of the partners that I work with at Sales Leaders, my sales agency. So it's in the trading space, which I have a lot of experience in running multiple sales teams in that specific industry. To be honest with you, when it comes to Sales Leaders, my sales agency, any B2C BizOps sales team is typically who will work with, should I say. So Amazon FBA, e-commerce, property, trading, YouTube automation, any ROI based offer is typically one of the main requirements. And the reason being is, when I was a closer myself, that was predominantly the offers that I was selling. Obviously I came from a corporate sales background as well, so a lot of the ROI offers and the sales teams that I run at Sales Leaders, we do have a few B2B as well. And I think that's the beautiful thing, when you have a corporate sales background and then you come into the high ticket sales space, you can always leverage your experience of coming from a corporate background, dealing with C-suites, entrepreneurs, business owners, and leverage it. Because one thing that I can tell you, it is very, very different selling to a consumer everyday 9-to-5er than it is to a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive. Like, there's a complete different sales process. And if I look at my sales teams as well, the guys that are on the B2B offers versus the B2C, they're very different sales reps, just the way they carry themselves, conduct conversations, which is what you want. You don't want a sort of one-trick pony in that regard. But anyway, back to my point. The partner that I'm referring to, he was in the trading space as well. Now, we started working together. What is this guy doing? What is this guy doing? Is he alright? Are there cars in front?
No, he's just saying
Stupid. So, yeah, we started working together at the start of this year, February 2025. Now, typical with most sort of partners that I'll partner with at Sales Leaders, they were around sort of 40 to 50,000 pounds. So what's that, 60, 70k dollars per month. They had one closer, they had no setter. Closer was absolutely terrible. no high ticket sales experience. They just randomly found him from some Facebook group, which is what most people do. They have shit sales talent on their sales team. So many business owners I work with think their reps are good. I promise you, if they're closing at 25, 30%, that is not good. I don't care if it's cold, I don't care if it's warm traffic. I had this conversation with someone the other day. I've got to turn off here. I had this conversation with someone the other day, and he was like, he told me his metrics is potentially someone I may work with in terms of running their sales team. And he was like, oh yeah, our metrics are, I've got a 28% close rate and I've got a 65% show rate. And I was like, yeah, that's absolutely terrible. Like, that is terrible. Like, across all my sales teams, paid, organic. If it's paid, I'd say, if it's paid, close rate will be like still 38, 40%. If it's warm, if it's not above 55, there's something going on with close rate. And it's funny because people just like believe this narrative that, oh yeah, my metrics are okay and blah blah blah. It's like, no, like, just get better talented sales reps, get a better sales process, and have a dialed in pre-call process, and you won't have that issue. Anyway, I've got to park up now, carry this when I'm finished. Right, okay, yeah, anyway, as I was saying, that partner that I started working with in February, start of this year, 2025, they're around sort of 40, 50,000 pounds cash collected month after month. They were stuck at around that for about 4 or 5 months. They had a low ticket offer before, which they were doing about 40, 50k on. Then they switched to high ticket and just couldn't increase cash collected, couldn't get any higher. Tried numerous different things. They hired a closer who was absolutely terrible, as I've already said. Terrible closer, no pre-call process, no dialed in systems, CRM was all over the place, tracking was all over the place, metrics were all over the place, zero management, which is typically where a lot of info offers are, because you've got to understand, so many of these people that start Amazon businesses, e-commerce, trading, property, like, having a coaching business is a very different business to a normal traditional business. Like, it's very different, it's very high paced. Like, sales and marketing is very, very at the forefront of everything. Like, you have to be good enough at that or you just won't succeed. Lead flow, funnels, automations, marketing, sales team, management, closers, setters, phone setters, like the whole lot. It's very intense, which is why, in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense to work with specialists. Like, the top info companies and the top partners that I work with across sales leaders, like, they will all have top tier people in each part of the business. They'll have a head of sales, which is predominantly myself. They'll have a head of marketing, which is usually a partner that they are working with, or I will introduce them to someone that I typically work with when I join a sales team, who I can vouch for. I know they've got good marketing and they take care of everything, and it gives me peace of mind running the sales team to know that everything's fine from that side of things. And then the rest is almost taken care of. They'll have, like, obviously editors, all of that sort of stuff, but that's really what you need. Like, to get to that 500,000, 750k a month with your info offer, like, you don't need people, you know, you see people online hiring like COOs and CFOs and all this nonsense. Like, you know, I've seen this a lot as well from some of the top guys in the industry. It's like, chill out. Like, you're just overcomplicating things. You're not running this huge traditional business where you need a chairman. It's like, relax. You're running an info business, right? We don't need to start hiring managing directors and directors. But anyway, getting back to my point. My point was, they had nothing in place pretty much, and they were stagnant for quite a while, and essentially came in and built everything out. So fired the existing closer, got great sales talent in. The great thing about running Capital Closer and having tons of sales reps at my disposal who have all been trained directly by me, someone who's actually been a top performing sales rep on every single sales team he's on, verified with proof and receipts at the highest level for 2.5 years straight, is that everyone that I train and coach, they sell like me. This is the beautiful thing. So everyone inside Capital Closer, over time, the more training, the more coaching, the more feedback from me, they almost replicate how I sell, which is fucking amazing. Because now, when it comes to sales leaders, when I need to hire sales reps, I can look directly at my own pool of people that I know, like, and trust, and more importantly, have a shit ton of experience. Some of the guys inside Capital Closer have collected 500,000, $1 million plus in cash collected, and I've got them there waiting that if a partner does come up in sales leaders that I want to work with, that I can bring them on board. And that's exactly what I did. We ended up bringing in one closer, one DM setter, fully built out the sales process. There was nothing in place. Basically, for me, it's very much a copy and paste system, purely because most of the time the sales process in the B2C BizOp environment is very much the same. I've built out a sales process called the 150k a month sales process. It took me 2.5 years to develop it after taking 3,000 high ticket sales calls and closing over 2.5 million in cash collected in the high ticket sales space. I developed it, and you can pretty much use it on any prospect, and it's basically identity selling at the highest level. I am that confident that any qualified leads that gets onto a calendar, not even myself, that goes without saying, any of my closers speak to them, they will get closed. It's as simple as that. Because when you've got a dialed in process and it actually makes sense, there is no way out of it. You know, it's almost like a checkbox system. And if they miss any of the checkboxes, then they won't get closed. But that's why we have it in place. Bought a closer in, bought a phone setter in, built out the entire process, the data, the tracking, the metrics, had full management. We had 2 training sessions per week, as we always do. One usually being call review, the other being a mock call review or a pipeline review, even though we don't have much of a pipeline because everything gets closed on the first call, as it should. If you're selling anything less than 10k and you're having pipeline follow-ups, your sales team are shit. It's as simple as that. But anyway, yeah, so we did that. Long story short, within the space of 90 days, we went from 50,000, sorry, the space of 120 days, we went from £50,000 cash collected to £169,000 in cash collected, which is around what, $220,000. Now we're looking at scaling that partner to £250,000 over the next 30 to 60 days, which they will hit. So really exciting stuff, and they're in the trading space as well. Now that's typically what we see with most of the partners that I work with as sales leaders, because the beautiful thing is I have been a closer myself on the top performing sales teams in the industry. 500,000, a million, 1.5 million a month. I've seen inside of these companies. I know what they do, I know what works, I know what doesn't work, but more importantly, I've now run multiple sales teams in the industry that are doing 150, 200, 250, 300. Top partner having done 600,000 in cash collected in a single month. And the beautiful thing is you can very much install those systems and learnings into the other partners to see huge success. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So yeah, had a good call earlier with that guy. Not 100% sure if it's going to make sense to partner. As I said, with sales leaders, I'm a bit picky in terms of who I want to work with. Like I think a lot of people, when they sort of run an agency or whatever you want to call it, don't really call it an agency, but whatever you want to call it, they'll take anything. And I'm more of the stage where I'd rather work with really high top tier partners that I get on with, we get on with, you know, we gel really well, we've got similar ideas, we've got similar goals, similar aspirations, and there's just a good vibe and aura, because every single time I do that and that happens and I stick to that, we get the best results. We work well together, it's fun, it's enjoyable, and it's not this sort of corporate weird relationship. It's just like, you know, I don't want to necessarily say mates, but it's just like you get on extremely well. I work at an extremely high level, they work at an extremely high level, we both respect each other, and we just operate at the highest possible level that there is and want to help each other make as much money as humanly possible. And I love that sort of vibe. So that's the thing with that. The offer's a little bit earlier, just for reference. Most of the partners that I work with realistically need to be in the B2C biz ops space. B2C or B2B doesn't quite matter, to be totally honest, in my opinion. If it's B2C, if it's B2B, but it is still an ROI based offer, not an issue. But predominantly B2C biz op, whether it be 3k, 5k, 8k, 10k, 15k. I mean, highest one partner that we're working with has a 40k offer. Doesn't really matter. The beautiful thing is all of the sales reps and guys that I've trained and coached, they can sell anything. They can sell absolutely anything. And they're there ready. There's no ramp up period as well. That's another beautiful thing about us. Like, there's no ramp up period. I don't need to find closers in Facebook groups or go out there and find it like a lot of these guys do. Like, I have them at my disposal, ready to be bought in, plugged in straight away. So this is why, like, when I partner with someone that sells leaders, in 30 to 60 days, their business doubling is not common at all. It's pretty standard. In fact, I'd be pretty pissed off if that didn't happen, because it's like, well, we already have the system, we already have the processes, we know what works, we already have the reps, the setters, the closers, the phone setters. It's just a case of plugging them in, plugging me on with the management, the training, the coaching, and the high level support, and we're off to the races. It really is as simple as that. But yeah, typically, now, realistically, an offer that's around like 30, 50, 60, 70k is a good starting point in terms of working with a partner in the B2C biz ops space, and then obviously scaling them up to the 100, 200, 300k a month. Or as well, there's been certain circumstances where an offer's been at around 100, 200, a month, and they just can't quite crack that 300, 400, 500k. And again, I'll work with them as well, because the biggest needle mover, if you're an info offer owner and you have a coaching business, is your sales part of the business. Anyone can get leads, anyone can do marketing, anyone can run ads. It's simple, it's so simple. The thing that is missing in the industry, and will always be missing, is sales talent. Okay, sales talent and dialed in sales processes. I promise you, I've seen inside so many of these companies, the marketing is easy. Anyone can run Facebook ads, anyone can do YouTube ads, anyone can post content, anyone can have a decent funnel, a VSL. It's easy, everyone can do that. Like, it's so simple. Trust me, it's so simple. What is difficult is having a dialed in sales team and sales process. I promise you, the level of closers in the industry right now is absolutely dog shit. There was a reason why I absolutely stamped on everyone when I was a closer myself. And look, I've still worked on the top sales teams, right? It's because they're terrible. They have no drive, they have no ambition, they're not hungry, they're not relentless, they're not dogs. They're very rare. And that's the thing, when a lot of guys work with me inside Capital Closer, I install that into them. To be fair, most of them have it already. That's why we work together, and I fucking love that. But yeah, it's crazy. The sales talent industry shit at the moment, because think of it like this. Let's say most coaching businesses that I see, their close rate is 20 to 25%, typically 20 to 25% close rate. Their show rate is typically 50 to 65% at best. Now, do you know how much money you're losing by having those metrics there? Do you know how much money you're losing? Hundreds and thousands, especially if you're at 50 to 100k a month. Because guess what? The level in which I operate at, a closer should be closing at minimum 35%. Minimum, right? Typically I'd want 40, 45%. Show rate should be 70 to 80%. Now, that metric alone, dialed in sales team, so setters, closers, DM setters, sales process and pre-call process, having that dialed in, and more importantly, actually tracking your metrics, doubles your business. Takes you from a 50 to 100k a month business to a 200k a month business. Just like that. No more leads, no more marketing, no more ad spend, the exact same, having a dialed in sales team and marketing. And that is why the biggest needle mover in every coaching business is always going to be your sales team, your closers, your setters, your DMs, and your sales process. I promise you, if you want to get to 200, 300, 400, 500k a month, and you want to do the thing that's the easiest to get you there with the least friction, get great closers, get a great sales team, great sales management, great pre-call process and sales process, and you'll get there, I promise you.